Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. If this is your first time here, we're glad to have you. Today we're going to be setting up a couple of indoor mushroom containers to start this King Oyster Mushroom. I went over and picked this up from Mushroom Mountain a couple of days ago, and I've never tried this kind before, so we're going to get it started and see what happens. Take a look at what we're doing. So the first thing that we have to do is prepare our substrate. Now, the substrate is just whatever material your mushrooms are going to be growing on. It's simply put, it's the food for the fungus. Now, different mushrooms like different substrates. In this case, we're going oyster mushrooms, so they like wheat straw, they like cardboard. They'll grow on hardwood sawdust or even coffee grounds. But you have to know what kind of substrate your mushroom likes. So when I say prepare it, what we have to do is make sure it's pasteurized, because there's already spores from other funguses on this material just waiting for the right conditions to colonize. We do not want that, because if they can out colonize what you're putting on it, in this case the oyster mushroom, then they are going to out compete, take it over, and your mushroom is not going to grow. So we have to get all of the spores, all of the different kinds of funguses that are already growing on the substrate out of the way so that ours can grow without competition. There are several methods that you can use to pasteurize your wheat straw. I'm not going over all of them in detail, but I will put some information about those in the description below, including measurements and ratios. Now, the first method is heat. Heat is going to pasteurize your material the quickest, but it's also going to be the most time consuming for you. The second is to soak your material in some sort of a solution. You can use peroxide, which again is in the description below, or you can use hydrated lime, which we will discuss in this video. The third process is fermentation. This requires nothing from you except to submerge your material in water for 2 to 4 weeks, and that fermentation that begins will kill whatever fungus has inhabited that, so that you're starting with a fresh batch of material for your mycelium. Okay, let me show you my setup and what I'm doing. So let's take a look at my fold-up table here. You will see these fold-up tables pop up in so many of my videos. They're just a great way to move things around without having to be tied down to one particular place. If you're doing a large amount of straw for any of these methods, you really need a barrel. If you're using heat, obviously you need a metal barrel. However, with the solution or fermentation method, a plastic barrel works just fine. Now, in my greenhouse, which I've opened up today, within another week or so this will be taken down, but I have a barrel of water in here that I've been using for heat retention. So I'm going to use this now instead to soak my wheat straw. So what I have here is my scale, my lime, and my measuring equipment. The lime has to be measured out in weight, not by liquid volume. Okay, so you need a scale to do this. If you don't have a scale, I recommend this one. I've had this one for probably at least 10 years. It's a fabulous scale. I'll put a link below. The hydrated lime, this is not garden lime. This is hydrated lime. The garden lime does not have the properties that you need for this, so I will put a link in the description for this also if you have any questions about it. That way you know what you're getting. So we want 6 grams of our hydrated lime per gallon of water. Now again, this is grams. We're not measuring out liquid volume. So a 55-gallon drum full of water is going to need 330 grams of hydrated lime. But also remember, this barrel is going to have this bale of straw in it, so it is not actually going to have 55 gallons of water in it. But I do not want to try to figure out how much water this bale of wheat straw is going to displace. So I'm going to fill this up, which is already full. I'm going to add the full amount of lime to the barrel. Once I put this bale of straw in there, it will overflow however much water needs to be removed. That is just the easiest way for me to do it. And remember, the reason that I chose to do this process is because it is the easiest way to pasteurize my straw without taking a full 2 to 4 weeks to do it. This gives me a 2-day period of time that I can pasteurize the straw without having to try to set up heat sources, take temperatures, and make sure that my straw is being pasteurized at the right temperature. All right, so at this point, all I'm going to do is open up my lime. There we go. All right, I got my lime open. So I'm going to turn on my scale. I'm going to switch the mode to ounces. I'm going to tare my weight so that it does not count the weight of the bowl. And then I am just going to fill this bowl up until I get 11.64 ounces. I don't need it to be exact. But because that's the kind of person I am, I'm going to get it as close as possible. Okay, so I have 11.6 ounces. I just need to open up my 55-gallon drum. I'm going to add my lime into my water. It does put off a lot of dust. Try not to breathe this lime in. It can be mildly caustic to your skin, so if you have sensitive skin, you may want to wear gloves while dealing with the hydrated lime. And then I'm just going to take this piece of PVC pipe and stir my water until all my lime is mixed in. So the reason that the hydrated lime works to pasteurize your material is because it is going to increase the pH of this water, making it extremely alkaline. So when you put your material into it, that alkaline environment is going to eliminate any of the contaminants, any of the other fungus that is already in the material. I'm going to add my wheat straw first. I'm just going to slowly work this in as we go so that I give the water a chance to absorb into some of it. I don't want to displace more water than I need to displace. I'm just going to add some of this cardboard down into the side here. I'm not going to use that piece. I didn't like the amount of ink, and it had some tape on it. I try not to use a lot of cardboard that's got a lot of ink on it when I'm dealing with my food. And I actually have decided not to use these. These look like they will come in handy for something else later. Now this is all set. I'm going to put something on top of this to help hold it under the water. I'm just going to use this old brick. And I'm going to put it right here on top. That way when I put my lid on, it'll push that straw down under the water. There we go. We got our straw submerged. We're going to let this soak for 24 to 48 hours, and then we're going to come back out here and make those beds. So it has been 48 hours since I began soaking my straw and cardboard. So now it's time to drain this water, and then I'm going to rinse it and let it sit in some fresh water for just a little while longer to make sure I get the majority of that lime out of it. Some nasty looking tea right there. It doesn't smell that great either. It smells like fish food flakes. So I drained the water, I filled it back up, I moved the straw around in there to rinse it, I emptied it, I filled it back up once more, and then I emptied it again. So now I have it upside down. I'm going to let this drain overnight because it's getting later in the evening now. And then once this drains some of the water off tomorrow, I will come back out here and make my indoor containers and show you guys what we're doing with that. So as you can see, I have my indoor containers done. For whatever reason, none of the video that I recorded while I was doing that saved. So I'm going to take this one back apart, show you what I have in here and what I did with it. That way you know the steps. Luckily this is an easy process, and then I'm going to get these put in my building so that they can start growing mushrooms. The first thing that I did after I cleaned my containers was I took my wheat straw and I put it down in the bottom of the container and I packed it in as tight as I could get it. In this case, what I did was just stand on it and mash it down with my feet. Then I went back and I opened my bag of spawn and I broke it into chunks. I had 3 containers, so I broke it into thirds, and then out of those thirds I broke them into large chunks and scattered them around on top of this layer of wheat straw. The next thing I did was bring some more wheat straw over. I packed it in. Now you can do multiple layers of this and put spawn in between each layer. I'm just going to do the 2 layers. Again, I'm going to pack this in as tight as I can get it, and then on top of this I'm going to put cardboard and just layer this cardboard. So the reason I'm putting cardboard on this, not only does the oyster mushroom grow on cardboard, so it provides food, but this is also going to help block out some of the light while this is starting to grow, and is going to hold in moisture, and hopefully it'll help prevent some colonization by other fungi that I do not want in here. And let's see, I think I'm just going to leave that as it is. So now I have all 3 beds prepared. Now one thing about these King Oyster mushrooms that is different than a normal oyster is they don't grow in shelf-like clumps. These are going to grow in single stalks with a cap. And from what I have researched, if you put these in a dark place with less circulation, less air circulation, that it will produce thick stalks, thick stems, and small caps, which is what I want out of this, because one of the things that people say you can do with this is cook the stalks like you would a scallop. I'm going to try that out and see how that goes. All right, so now all 3 of my containers are ready to go. I'm going to move those into the building, find me a suitable spot for them, and we'll see if we can grow some mushrooms, and I'll give you guys an update video in a month or so. Now, if you want to see how I started my own mushroom spawn using wild oyster mushrooms, check out this video right here. And as always, remember to like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and share this video. That really helps us out, and we will see you guys next time.